Call their meeting to order. Are there any announcements? Hearing any, John, do you have anything of our agenda this evening?
Mr. President, a couple changes to the agenda.
Yes, sir.
Please. What are they? I'd like to suggest adding the Perkins Native Plant Grant request.
Okay, I see it. Okay, yes. You want us to put that under the consent calendar or should we move it under managers?
I don't think it deserves a lot of discussion, so consent would be fine. Managers have a time to review.
I will make that so. Thank you, sir.
And I'd like to remove item number 2 under managers.
Item number 2 under managers. Okay.
According to the Water and Soil Resources.
Minor amendment to the water management plan.
Yes, that should not be approved until at least 5 days after the public hearing is scheduled.
Oh, very good. Yes, you brought that up. Thank you. Okay, we'll do that with those changes. Who's with us electronically?
I think wasn't nobody is. I'm not sure if we're recording. So.
Okay. Oh, well. Okay. So with that said, I would like to make a motion to approve the agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
It is approved. Public forum. Anybody wishing to speak? There's no one here electronically. Folks? Oh, very good. Okay, to find out.
Yeah.
Great.
Correct.
I hope you enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah.
Don't be too boring.
Oh, no. Yeah.
I always say that. But I don't play enough. Okay. Anything? Let me go ahead and move to the consent calendar. But to spare you gentlemen some comments I have on a couple of these items. But including the Perkins Native Plant Grant, I'd like to make a motion to approve all of the items on the consent calendar. Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
It is approved. Okay. Let's go to updates and requests from partners, volunteer citizens advisory committee. Nothing there. Nothing at this point. So let's move to the administrator engineer. Draft letter to the MPTA. Sir engineer.
President managers, including your packets, a draft letter to the permit writer for the Cimarron Park wastewater treatment facility. That might be advantageous for the district if the district were to send a letter prior to the permit being out for official review. Letting the permit writer know that the Watershed district would urge them to consider having it connected to municipal sewer rather than continuing to allow it to exist and potentially cause flooding issues and discharge issues.
Okay, I certainly went over this and I don't see any change necessary or difference. And do the managers have anything? Sir.
What's the status of the opportunity for sanitary sewer with the new school going in Kitty's Corner, the Cameron, is that? I mean, it seems like a great opportunity to solve a big problem.
It does, and so this letter is encouraging them to connect to municipal sewer either from Oakland Junior High or Laguna Elementary or through the former movie theater site. Right.
I see that there are some Met Council people that are copied as well. So
Mr. President, managers, the copy list includes everybody that attended a meeting last summer that Manager Armstrong and Gilman and I attended, as well as commissioners of the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency and the DNR. And it also includes Commissioner Cox from Washington County. She's very passionate about this issue.
Is it letter? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I like the letter. Is it worthwhile sending it to somebody higher up at the Met Council as well? I know
Good
the
question.
Gail, who was there, right? Is it,
As for that, I don't believe Gail was there. Gail was appointed
She
manager,
is
or I
okay,
don't remember the title that they have for the
Uh,
board members of
yeah.
the council, but she represents this area.
uh-huh, okay, thank you.
Do we know when the timeline is for when they would make a decision on this?
Manager, I'm sorry, I don't recall. I think they're working on it. They draft it and then they send it out for either a 30-day comment or a 60-day comment. And then they have probably a specific amount of time to respond to those comments and determine if they need to send it out for comments again or just approve it or deny it or what.
Any further questions? All
Nope.
right. Can we, direct you, or do we need you to get an approval here?
I think direction is fine.
Very good, sir. Please make that so. Good?
And thank you.
Yes, thank you. It should, with all the stuff that's going on, they will be quite aware, just in case they're not. Okay. Scheduling workshops. Okay. The Valley Branch Watershed District Rules and Regulations. We're gonna go into this right now. That's okay. District Rules and Regulations, you handed out a copy for the managers to stay abreast and for anybody who is unaware of what is required of us.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
there was a subcommittee meeting several months ago, and after that subcommittee meeting, our updated the rules based on the discussion there, and distributed only to President Marchand and to Secretary Brock. Guess the question tonight would be, do you think it'd be advantageous to have a full board workshop to talk about the proposed changes? Again, backing up a little bit, the majority of the changes are really dealing with easements over floodplain. And the current rules require easements up to the 100-year flood elevation of low areas. And there's been some discussion about removing that requirement. So we drafted rules that would remove that requirement. And the question tonight would be, how do you want to proceed? Do you think it'd be worthwhile to have a full board workshop to talk about the rules and the nuances? Or do you think another subcommittee meeting and then bring it back to the board? Or do you just want me to bring it to the full board now?
My opinion, that we should make this a full workshop and also bring up this issue. And particularly interested in input from Vice President Pereira and of course, Secretary Brock. So I want this to be that. How do you gentlemen feel?
I agree. I was just wondering if we could combine revisions, possible revisions to the cost share program in that same workshop.
Cost share, which one?
Well, that was,
The managers have talked about having a workshop to talk their native plant, especially the native plant cost share program.
I would like to make that separate, and I have reasons for that, because I would like to do something comprehensive as if possible, with your input as well, because there are some of the things you have said that I appreciate. And that might take longer than expected because there's some changes that I'm looking at. And we want to make this, in my opinion, comprehensive so that we're getting more efficiency, you know, the phrase bang for our buck that I like to use. And so I think that's a separate conversation. And I also believe that that workshop should be handled without the initial input of the WCD. And with that, we can come up with something and then tweak, if we need to, what we've accomplished regarding these changes. Because some questions are going to come up about one thing, size, you know, the area that we're treating or that we're taking care of. And then there might be constraints, or there might be for lack of a better word, contraindications for doing that. So that's why I want that to be a separate meeting. How does that strike you fellas? Yeah,
That's fine.
Fine.
okay.
Is there
Good.
any
Yes, sir.
value in having them all become official rules? So we've got to have a public hearing for changes in the rules. So will we do that coordinated so that it's happening all at once rather than two sets of public hearings and process, between the two
So,
sets of issues? It'd be nice to have it happen all at once, but I can see, it sounds like that may not be a reasonable way to
right,
do
so
it.
2 workshops and then the information or the policy changes or rule changes that we arrive at can be dealt with a public hearing, a single public hearing on top of whatever else we have, correct? No? Is that confusing?
So, yeah,
I'm a little bit confused with the rules. I think first we need to know what the managers want with the rules.
Right,
And then we would revise them accordingly. And then the process is, then you have to send out the rules for comment by all the communities and all the state agencies.
mhm.
And you have to address those comments, and it's a pretty long process. And
Right.
I think at the very end of it, there's a public hearing.
Okay. So I'd like to see us have, for all the process you just described, I'd like to see one process occur for, both for the native plant stuff and the, and the, easement
yeah,
stuff.
right,
So that implies then the two workshops have to happen fairly close to each other, so we don't
can.
get bogged down too much in terms
Right.
of what the
I don't see a
process is.
problem. Yes, sir.
I don't, do we need a public hearing to revise our
No,
grant programs? That's just something we can do at a meeting.
Oh, okay,
So. yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
only a
we're
public
looking
hearing
at
for the,
a requirement and. Yeah,
Okay. that
I'm
makes sense,
suggesting
good,
Bundling whatever we have to do
okay.
to arrive at that. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're on the right track.
Mhm.
Right, if we don't require a public hearing, then
Looks like,
it's not gonna happen.
President Marshall.
our-
Yes, ma'am.
So the rules are outlined and there's a process outlined in the statutes regarding creation and modification of the rules.
Yeah,
Cost share is a policy that the district has chosen to enact, and that is not outlined and as specific in the statute. So therefore it is easier to modify. So just to provide a little clarification on that.
okay. And just to add
Good.
something, and thank you very much, but to add to that, then, as I said earlier, if and when we arrive at something, then we can present to WCD and other bodies and make further determinations, as I said, tweaking it if need be. So
Mhm.
all I have.
Cool.
Okay, next one.
Mr. President,
Are we
then
squared away or?
would you like me to then to send out a doodle poll to schedule these workshops?
Please, yes,
And a
sorry.
separate workshop on each, the rules and the cost share program, and then the tour as well. So
Yes,
so
sir.
you'll be receiving 3 doodle polls for 3 different events.
Yes, I think I can handle it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we're gonna shift to the tour. So I talked to John about this, and my opinion here is that the tours should never be the same thing over and over again, obviously, right? We end up in a particular place, keeping my jokes to myself. So sometimes we think about, or I think about visiting places that we've spent little time in or know little about so that we have a better understanding. And other times, places that we have spent a great deal of money on so that, again, we know what we're doing and we're seeing the results. And in between, and with that, we juggle the itinerary so that it jives with, traffic and with our needs being met, and of course, that's that wild ride in the van. So What we're gonna do at this point is, I was thinking of a combination of places that are obscure and places that we, as I said earlier, that we've spent a great deal of money on. Mr. Inspector, your presence will be needed, and our attorneys will, of course, be, Ms. Tori, if you haven't been on a ride, it's not scary. John drive. When I drive, it's scary. John drive. In any case, you and Savannah, if you like, that helps you get up to speed on, and that's what this is about. So anyway, and then we can make a decision about where we want to go at the end. So if you gentlemen are okay with it at this point, we don't have to talk about it further unless you have some input regarding.
I do. I have some general comments. One is, at the time, we discussed the permit on Lake Elmo, where they put up the temporary barrier for flooding, a small house. And we talked about seeing that site. That seemed like one that would be pretty interesting to see if we would be able to see some of the equipment that was used and so on. The other part of maybe something that we could also look at touring would be to look at some of the, the native plant and the community sites, so it'd fit in with the workshop and, and what we're trying to figure out there.
We'll go to somebody's lawn.
Yeah, just stand around looking at it, yes.
You can look at my prairie.
We're gonna.
Welcome with golf flowers.
And one other comment, I think it'd be nice if we're able to get a venue where we can kind of socialize a little bit more, rather than being seated at a table and not really have a lot of kind of
Right.
interaction.
Nice
That
and
would
round
be-
table, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
I agree.
mhm.
So John,
Those are just general comments.
I appreciate that, and that's what we're looking for. Yeah. Hey, pass the salt. I don't want to do that. I agree completely.
What about that one location where they did the controlled burn that we gave them some money, the Veterans Park? That'd be nice to see.
Good idea.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that would be.
Is this gonna be a convoluted path, John, or are we doing okay so far?
We'll do our best.
Okay, yeah,
Make it as efficient as possible. Okay.
I was thinking what Rick said, and that is, we're gonna be trying to get our brains wrapped around this cost share program and what's good about it and what's bad about it. So maybe a suite of those projects, from ones that look like glorified flower beds to ones that are probably pretty significant, like, likely have significant water and ecological benefits. So kind of see the full scale of where the money goes.
Right, some of the $5,000 ones, for lack of better description. So consider that too. Yeah, that would be nice. We'll have an unexpected visit. We'll stand in their yards. Sorry, just kidding. Mr. Brock, do you have any input?
Oh, good with all the ideas there.
Okay, very good.
I will throw out one, I don't know if it'll work with this tour, but at some point in time, I think the board, if they haven't seen it, ought to see Rest Area Pond. Stop out there. I mean, it's a pretty significant structure.
Mhm.
I rode my bike out there and I snuck under the fences and went there and I was like, I didn't realize it was this big.
Without you on.
But
Which one is it?
Rest Area Pond,
Oh.
part of it, yeah.
Over by 94.
Yep.
Thank you for mentioning that.
But like I said, I don't know if that would take some time. You're gonna have to park, we're gonna have to hike back in, but
We also,
We have done that, but this board is not done that, so it does take time.
we've done a tree removal there.
There's still a lot of dead trees and water there. I don't
Oh, really?
remember tree removals, other than removing them out of the outlet structure so that they can.
Oh, boy. You don't need waiter, right?
President Marshall, I'm gonna have a couple suggestions, and then John's working on this list, but
Yes.
one might be, depending if we're down in the area of St. Croix Trail, would be the restoration project along the Valley Creek of Putnam. Private property owner would allow access, that would be interesting to see.
Okay.
And the other one, if we get to grant, because I know you've got to keep this organized. The Excel hole replacement project through the fan wetlands might be interesting to the managers, if we're going in that direction, if it's through this. It's a little bit out of the way, so I don't know if it makes sense.
Isn't that the black on
You could drive in
If you
there.
want an 8-hour tour or.
Yeah. Just a
And
thought.
heavy-duty
Realizing
flashlight.
that-
I don't mind. You got it. I don't mind.
Right. If you're up by Sunnybrook, it would make sense. Otherwise, it doesn't.
President Marchand and I also mentioned possibly seeing the new Science Learning Center at Bowen.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Managers would be interested.
That's a good, that's,
Good one.
has that been constructed? Is that
I
something-
think that's what I think it's 90 to 99%.
Awesome. We might even be able to enter the
They're,
building.
they're open, but I think they still have some.
Okay. That was actually great. I appreciate everybody's input. All right, so I can move on to the cost share program. And I think we talked about that, but, and review polls so that we can set up and gentlemen, I ask you, I implore you to bring your ideas to this. We're going to have background so that you can make a decision and come up with more efficient ways of spending taxpayer money. We have on that.
So I make the suggestion,
Yes, sir.
the cost share programs are very common in our neighboring watershed districts, so I think having a look at how they do it would be useful, I think. I know that it was a pretty big deal in South Washington, and I hear lots of things about rain gardens when you connect with neighboring watershed districts and whatever, so maybe some, without putting too much work on you, John, maybe the basic statistics to see like what fraction of their budget was into cost share things and whatever.
Good.
So we know where we stand relative to.
Yeah, specific
Yeah.
on the background to help. And we know we've been spending, WCG has been very good about including. What were we supposed to do? I'm kidding. That was Pavlovian for me. Yeah. Sorry. Regarding, what it is that we've been doing, we've been spending our money. So going back to WCD, they, I don't know if Alyssa Thompson has been doing this, and I compliment her if she has, if she's responsible for where they've been spending the money and keeping us abreast of things. So that's all right. Okay. Mr. Inspector, I have some questions. Lead us.
President Marshall, yes.
So I know you'd like to keep us abreast of things. So you discussed some items. I'm going to the Islamic Center.
Yeah,
Is that him?
yes.
So the simple question is, what's going on? You spoke to that?
Well, the project's wrapping up and as part of permit closeout, when there's an infiltration basin, I need to confirm that they're functioning, that there's vegetation. The infiltration basin worked this spring before they did final grading. But it's not working anymore. Today I met with the contractor and also the subcontractors who did the work and kind of questioned, there's still standing water in it here a week to 10 days later. So I was just questioning there's a special media mix they put in the bottom, like what was the specification on that? There was sparse vegetation around the slopes. They didn't blanket the slopes, blanket and seed. They did hydro seed. And then they didn't have any protection. So I kind of walked through my thoughts on why it might not be working. They need to solve it, but from my experience, they should have used seed and blanket on the slopes because that keeps the soil, the sediment from going down and capping the infiltration basin.
Right.
The only thing growing out there are weeds and crabgrass. So that's not a good thing. So I asked them, they should probably talk to their seeding contractor because I looked at what they seeded around the whole parking lot area. And it's like, there's very little grass or grasses in there. So they have some work to do. I also let them know they'd have to submit as-built, which apparently they were not aware of, but we need as-built so that our engineers can review to make sure it was built to the proper elevation. So, I mean, they've been very good to work with, but we're at the permit close and people always, they're in a hurry to close. And all of a sudden it's like, wait, we have to do this. It's like, yeah, you have to have all this in place. So I had a good meeting today. They'll have to come up with a plan to make it work.
But they're being cooperative.
Oh, absolutely.
Wonderful.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, but they're gonna have to pump the water out of it. They're gonna have to work up the bottom of it. There's gonna be some work involved, so, but that's not unusual. These are things that we run into, so. I have a similar up at the Tesla site. I was out there today to confirm some rework that was done and that developer's really pushing to close out that permit. Well, it's taken them 2 years to try to get out there and restore this and repair some of the areas I've been telling them about. So they want like a rubber stamp. It's like, well, you just did the work. You just put the seed down. It has to have time to grow. I need to see if it rains, are these slopes going to erode again, or did you address the problem? So those are kind of the typical things I run into at the end of a project. So, just one of those things, we're just doing our diligence there to make sure everything's in place. So
Very good. sir.
did you have some other questions?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
Managers may or may not have more questions today. One more, so the Vizuet Thompson resident.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
So that's a home that was built, one of the last lots in the Artisan development. And
What's Lakeland?
it's near, West Lakeland. It has a wetland in it. We've had some challenges with their erosion control and so forth. Everything's in place. They didn't put in the rain garden, which is on the list. They used hydro seed around the perimeter. The yard is sodded, but the perimeter wetland buffer, and they used a hydro seed that didn't take very well. So they've got some issues going on there. They also, there's been one spot that the slope always erodes from the start of the project.
What's the area by chance? Do you have an idea of what? A couple of acres?
Yeah, it's probably a couple of acres,
Okay.
The site to be, so anyway, I met with the homeowner. This is one of those things where you've got a home builder, but then you have the homeowner who's managing some of it. The homeowner's managing some of these other things. And so the builder wants their surety back. Everything hasn't been met. The homeowner's taken over the landscaping and the rain garden. So I tried to coach them through some things that they could do to, check those things off the list and where a good spot for the rain garden was right where all the water wants to go. and to have their people who put their rainwater gutter system in, they daylighted it right on the slope that erodes. So guess what happens? It all keeps eroding. So I said, bring it down, create a rain garden, have the water go into that, right? And seed that. So there's some coaching going on. It's been a difficult site, to be honest with you. It's one of the harder ones they've had to work on. It's
They are being cooperative.
Yeah, they're cooperative. We just need to see results, right? So,
Oh, yeah.
you know, cooperative and getting results done don't always match. So,
Cooperative meaning, yeah, they let you on the
The best-
property.
the
Yeah,
best intentions don't always
Yeah.
deliver, so.
I get it. Okay. You can continue with your report unless the managers have any questions, and I will have another question towards the end.
I was out at the Wrangler Amazon project today. The infiltration basin is about the size of 2 football fields. They mixed a special media last week on site, and Ron Intertech was out testing this. They were testing the basin with it's called a double ring infiltrometer test, where they go out and they measure how fast the water infiltrates in different sites within the infiltration basin. So they were just starting that up. The initial tests a few weeks ago showed that it was actually too fast.
Really?
So Ron was coming up, so they have to adapt that mix to try to slow the water down. So they're in that process. It looks really good. I know it's gonna work. It's a matter of, is it gonna be too fast or not? They're still rebuilding. They're finished rebuilding the part of the wall that collapsed. And they're continuing with that. They actually had to re-pour the in-place storm sewer structures were damaged when the wall collapsed.
Huh.
So
Wow.
apparently they told me today that there were 4 other sites in the cities that had similar problems during that 4-inch rainfall, that they had issues. So anyway, it's looking good out there. Everything's moving forward and there's no issues. Just, I'm just monitoring to see where they're at with that infiltration basin because it's huge. You can see it from 94. You can't see it from Hudson Road. But it's a big thing there. I was at Shilkin South again today, talked to the developer about we have erosion again on the slope. He's got 2 contractors out there today and tomorrow. They're working on rectifying the situation. The storm sewer is going in. So their thought is that the water won't be able to get to the site anymore because it's going to go through the storm sewer system. That's the plan. So that's been a challenge. Bridgewater Village in Lake Elmo, they've reworked there's a stormwater basin there. That's a reuse system for irrigation. The excavators had to rework that pond 4 times now because of weather issues, because it gets a fabric liner in it. And so they basically had to dewater, pump out all the water at least 3 times now, reshape it, bring in new material. Today it looked great and the contractor was there and they're crossing their fingers that the liner gets put in.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it's a kind of a big deal. So at a lot of expense to continuing to rework all that. Don't think I have anything of note.
St. Mary's Cemetery, is it the
Yeah,
one off of Lake Elmo Boulevard?
St. Mary's
No.
Cemetery
No,
is
that's
over
over.
in North St. Paul.
Yeah, nursing.
We have a permit. They notified me last week that they were gonna start hauling some material in to stage it, but not start any grading work.
Mhm.
So I need to confirm that.
And did the wetland issue get clarified,
I don't know that they have full approval yet. Did we approve that permit or did we? They were looking for, there was talk about a possible variance. I think the permit was approved without a variance. That they needed, if they wanted a variance, then they come back to the board.
Mr. President, managers, the permit was approved and one of the conditions was they need to have the Wetland Conservation Act technical evaluation panel visit the site to make sure that it's in compliance with Minnesota Wetland Conservation Act.
Okay.
And I believe that that's been done, but I'd have to go back and look at my emails to
But I'll check on that because it's very close to the Silver Lake outlet and I'm out there weekly. So I'll make sure to follow up on that, but I know they were gonna start bringing some material over there.
steel pole replacement.
Yeah, I was just out there again today. It's really an interesting project. They bring in these large mats that you can drive a crane across. And they have to prep the area by grading them flat. And
Because of the weight.
they're replacing all the steel poles for the transmission line because transmission lines, because they all have, losing my train of thought here. But anyway, they have to replace them because of the paint. And,
Oxidation.
no, it's,
The lead paint issue.
thank you. I couldn't get lead, just like dropped out of my brain. They have lead paint and they can't find a way to seal it in place without it flaking off.
Huh.
So they have to go in, they have to set up this matting so that they can drive cranes in there. And then the cranes lift up the lines to take the weight off. Then they come back in and cut them down in pieces like cutting a tree and lower them down and they put new ones in place.
So it's all powered through the whole process?
No,
The lines are powered?
they shut the.
They
line
shut the
down.
line. Okay.
So, yeah.
Oh, so that explains all the power outages we've been.
Exactly.
know.
For us, the main concern, there were two areas specifically where there's the Fen wetland complex. And their subcontractor started the project and grading without erosion control in place next to the Fen wetland project. And they had a meeting out there about 10 days ago with the MPCA, the DNR, the Wetland Conservation Act. They were thoroughly scolded about erosion control, what they needed to do. They were lucky that nothing went into the wetland, or I think they would have received a ticket site. So it was pretty serious. Because these are very sensitive wetlands that are, need to be protected. Apparently the recovery of these can take decades if there's, if they're inundated with sediment or something. So I'm not a wetland expert on that, but I just did a little reading on it and it's a pretty cool area. So they've protected that area. I'm monitoring it to make sure now that they have the mats in. Now we have an impervious surface. The water can move faster. Where's it going? How do we stop sediment from moving? So I've been out there on a weekly basis and it's a pretty interesting project out there.
Like that.
So, yeah, some of them come off 75th Street in Grant. These are off of, more in the Jamaica, between Jamaica and Jocelyn area, in the Sunnybrook area. So, yeah.
Yeah, the Gateway Trail goes right through there.
Gateway Trail is over near there, so
Is-
yeah.
Is the Fen north of the Gateway or south?
It would be south and, it would be, west of Jocelyn.
Okay,
And it would be south of the frontage road on 36. So this goes across 36. Each goes up, this goes, I think, all the way to Duluth or something.
Really?
So, yeah, it's a big project.
Wow. Yes, sir.
If we were able to, so fens are, thanks to Middle Snake Tamarack, fens are now a pretty big issue with Minnesota watersheds. We had a resolution passed last year. Fortunately, Mark Gurnis, retired from PCA, was at the resolutions hearing, and I think he said there's about 100 fens that we know about in the state, and there may be like another 100 we don't know about that could be on private property, but they are a very unique ecosystem driven by groundwater upwelling.
yeah.
They typically find them because the plant community around them is so unique.
I mean, like the tamarack, things like that.
Well, I think unique species of plants, some of them often endangered, that rely on this unique groundwater interaction. So I just wonder if we could swing it on the tour, would it be possible for us to get close enough to see the fen? You know, if
You
that's,
can almost drive to one of them.
okay,
One of
meters.
One of them, yeah, I mean, it'll be a little bit of bushwhacking, but yeah, we can see one of the ponds. There's some other ponds right off of, one of the streets coming in. That would probably be the easiest one to see off of, What can I think of the name of that? It's Jasmine Court North, I think it is. Thank you. Jasmine Court North, we'd be able to see that one. And we could probably drive down to, because we could drive, they could drive a crane across the mat, we can drive a van across the mat. I've been driving across it with the truck, so. Yeah.
Jeff might be the driver this year.
Again, if it makes sense, it could be interesting,
That's not driving.
or it could be
No.
a separate one. Yeah. So, yeah, it's quite the project. I don't think we've dealt with that before. At least I haven't, maybe years ago.
Yeah, there's a couple different fens and they're all in grant in that general area.
Yeah.
There's been some nearby activity, but this is definitely the closest activity.
Quick one. I'm real interested on how your conversation went with Mrs. Zeiton. That was Lake Jane, right?
Yeah, we
What's
had a nice,
going on?
we had a nice conversation.
Good.
She talked about, of course, the wake boats and their impact. I actually saw something on Channel 11 last week,
Yeah.
this week. It was interesting with the University of Minnesota. They were showing the impact at certain depths. It was like 20 or 15 feet and under. It's quite the impact, but
That deep, huh?
yeah, I mean, it's quite an impact. But we did talk, she talked about the erosion from the wake boats. You know, her shoreline has some erosion on it. Her biggest complaint was there's too many boats in the lake, which we don't have any jurisdiction over. And I said, well, are there a lot of boats coming in from the DNR launch? She said, no. The people in the lake, yes, there's boats coming in, but there's too many people who have too many boats on the lake. Again, not something that we have any jurisdiction over. Like some people might have 2 or 3 boats on their dock.
Don, how many-
She wasn't happy about the amount of boats and of course the wave boat, the wave action, which I understand if it's shallow, you know, on the shorelines, it does create quite a bit of damage, but we, you know, as far as boats go,
Yes.
not a lot to say about that.
John, this is the same person that contacted me by email.
I spoke to her as well.
Well, no, actually, it was a different person, but they've been communicating to each other.
I spoke to Ms. Zeiton as well.
Right.
And so all I'm adding is that even though I told her that I had you in mind, Counselor, that we are constrained, of course, and urged her to contact other LGUs and authorities, and certainly her Lake Elmo City Council. But that help, we would provide facts, information about what happens, what occurs. And that's it. But I wished her well, and I thought it would be a good idea to see the situation, and that would help us acquire data on what's happening.
Right, and I'd asked if she'd been in contact with her, you know, lake association, and her comment was that, well, they're really mostly focused on invasive species and not boats, so I'm like, well, but that's a place to start, because you all
Yes.
are neighbors, and they may not all agree. Half the neighbors may think there's too many boats, and half the neighbors maybe think they should have more boats, I don't
You
know.
know, the ironic thing was the gal that that emailed you, Don? And Janine, I think.
Leanne
Deanne?
Leach is the
I,
contact for
okay.
the Lake Association, so I'm guessing Mrs. Zeiton contacted Leanne.
I spoke to her as well. And she said, well, everything was okay when we had, because she was a water skier and all her kids used to do that, but now it's gotten out of hand. And I thought, are you kidding? You guys thought it was okay and now it's out of hand? But what do I know?
The water ski jumps are right across the lake, and they've been there for how long, John? They've been there for as long as I can remember.
Since
500 feet.
Since there was an issue in front of Valley Branch Watershed District about 10 years ago.
So they've been there quite some time. There's a water ski club there.
And they're not doing what the wake boat people do.
Water skiers, no,
No?
they typically don't have the same, yeah, they don't have ballast and so forth to create. They don't want to create big waves, I don't think, for water skiing. But, yeah.
Yes, sir.
So I went to Link Levy for his, interpretation of this on July 29th. I meant to forward this and I probably forgot to. He said he did hear one thing. Sounds like someone is going to ask the city council tonight to request a workshop be done to review a high water, no wake ordinance. I don't know if this is a request for one lake or all three of them. Reinstating the previous ordinance, and that's the one that you would inform me about. So,
3 days. The tri-lakes, all. Valley Creek culverts. Happened.
Yeah, so there was one culvert that, there was some erosion around it and I talked to the city and that was repaired. Taken care of, although I'm still watching there's still some erosion on the gradient side of it. Just has the way they put the class 5, they're getting ready to redo the road. So they put the culverts in ahead of time and put class 5 over it. And now they're getting ready to redo the whole street. And so, you know, I go by there all the time, so I called the city road guy and talked to him about it, so it gets taken care of, but.
yeah, these are the ones right on Valley Creek Road. There's
Yeah.
3 areas, 3 spots where they're,
There's like 3 or 4 of them, and there's a couple of them are pretty, there's 3 they haven't replaced yet. One of them's is live with the, the creek flow or the, it's got spring activity that runs year round, so they have 3 culverts yet to replace. I think they're waiting something to do with the DNR permit, and I'm not quite sure what the holdup is, but they've got it all staked, so I think they're getting ready to do it. So hopefully they get those culverts done. So,
Road
yeah,
closure.
they're supposed to be done in September with that project. The one culvert I keep my eye on, it's only, the outlet on it's only about 20 feet from the creek, so I keep an eye on that one. The rest of them really have quite a distance and a lot of vegetation. And there's nothing flowing through them. Just happened to be this one spot is kind of a tricky one, so. I'm on them.
Indeed you are. Thank you, sir.
They probably don't appreciate that I live on the road.
There he is. Here he comes. Here he comes. Put up the thing.
Yeah.
Do the managers have any other questions or comments? Okay. Thank you, Jeff. That's very informative. Appreciate your work. Okay. We're going to shift to managers. Public hearing amendment.
Mr. President, please hold the public hearing on the plan amendment. The plan amendment for this would allow the Watershed District to purchase additional homes, including the top home on Legion. Yes.
Okay, so make a motion to hold a public hearing at this time.
So you want to suspend the regular meeting and then open a public hearing.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
So I would like to suspend a regular meeting at this time. Do I have a second?
Second.
So moved and seconded.
Aye.
all right,
Aye.
Aye.
Very good. Our meeting is suspended. Now we would like to open a public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
So moved and seconded.
Aye.
all right,
Aye.
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 We are now conducting a public hearing. I always say it's crickets. Yeah, crickets.
And they usually don't have many comments.
Sometimes. Stridulation, that's what they like to do. Okay. Not hearing anything. Yes,
So just to clarify, the purpose of this public hearing is to receive any comments by the public regarding a minor amendment to the 2015 to 2025 watershed management plan regarding property acquisition for flood risk reduction.
Thank you. I don't have to repeat that, I hope.
No, you don't.
Oh, thank you.
I just wanted it on.
Yeah, no, you're
What
right.
the purpose of the public meeting was in case
Oh, thank you. I thought that,
members of the public wish to make comments.
do any members of the public wish to make comments? Not hearing any. I will make a motion to close the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
So moved in second.
Aye.
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 It is closed. I would like to make a motion to resume our regular meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
So moved in second.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we are now resuming our regular meeting. Okay. Thank you, everybody. I like that. Okay, that's squared away. And number two, yes, sir, I'm sorry.
We need to approve resolution
Oh, we do?
2025-04.
No, we don't.
Oh, no, we don't.
Okay.
Okay.
Number two.
Very good.
Board of Water and Soil Resources suggested that we not do that since they have 5 more days after the public.
Oh,
hearing to-
you said that earlier. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So does that move this resolution to our next meeting, then? Okay.
Okay, this one's interesting. The cost share sign-in program. Let me put this on the back. This one's interesting. So we had a decision on what sign to use. I have questions about this. Have the managers more or less agreed on which one is the best sign, the 2 examples that we have, or do they have another idea?
Personally, I think the one that says this project was installed using cost share funds, you know, I think that makes the most sense. The other one, that it was designed with cost share funds.
Yeah.
The managers previously decided that the first one is what they want. I had told Washington Conservation District that they went out and got bids from 2 different vendors for the signs, whether it's the first sign or the second sign, the bids are the same.
But we just need to decide on how many signs or if we want to buy some.
Which one?
I think the questions are, do you still want to buy signs now that you know the cost? And do you want to buy 50 or 100? And do you want to buy more durable ones or less durable?
I'm thinking 50 and more durable off the top of my head. But I saw this, rounded corners not included. Isn't that a safety feature that they should have rounded corners? Anyone?
Aren't they all described as being with rounded corners?
Says not included.
Yeah.
Or not?
But,
Oh, in this one, okay. I was looking at the quote. Impressions.
I tend to agree with Ed's comment, more durable and 50
Yeah,
if you have them, then
and we have to go with the lowest bidder typically? No, not in this case.
Do whatever you like.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
What do we see as the lifetime of these signs? I mean, we're gonna put them up and then, you know, it seems like the aluminum ones are gonna be pretty durable and would
Yeah.
certainly last the 5 years.
At least or more. you know.
And, yeah, I guess it seems like the big bang is right at the beginning, you know, when you get it installed and, who's the audience? Is it people visiting?
Right, anybody that
Mhm.
sees that the homeowner has.
Yeah.
that. In neon, for them, it looks like a neon sign. The way that we were involved.
Flashing or just
Yeah.
continuous?
The other thing that I was curious about, and again, I looked at these, but hardware is separate, we're responsible for that as well. And then installation, does that happen automatically? Does Alyssa go out there, as an example, and just pound them in and And it's coming off or? We have no
Yes,
idea.
it would either be Alyssa or the homeowner.
Okay,
For the impression, signs and graphics, I have a bid of 60 aluminum signs for $2,100. And Alpha Graphics has what looks to be a similar product of 50 signs for 1,027.
okay, and that
Oops, I'm sorry, no, that was
567, right?
different material.
Yeah, the Alpha Graphics is mostly PVC, right?
Yeah, plastic.
Rather than the aluminum.
I think the aluminum's better.
My inclination is to see us go with number 6, if we could get 50 of them rather than 96 of them on the impressions one. I don't think we need more than a 8.5 by, or 8 by 12 inch sign is plenty.
It's like,
And having it aluminum, if nothing else, we're making a statement of, microplastics aren't part of our preference.
it's a nice.
And it's more durable.
Okay, and then they said this does not include the poster hardware we're installing in the ground. So where do we get that? Are we responsible for that as well, or is that gonna be something separate that,
That'd be an additional cost to the district that perhaps Washington Conservation District could go to Home Depot or Menards to purchase.
Well, if it's a wood stake that's attached to the aluminum sign is gonna be flat on the ground after about 3 years.
no?
And then
They- they got steel
the managers, do you want this to be there permanently or do you want this to be there for?
Right,
Certain time?
I agree. I'm not sure what we're asking people to do there.
Yeah, off the top of my head, this could be part of our workshop. Off the top of my head, looking at a 2 to 3 year minimum. Up to, make things, worse, something that really are.
You could just say during-
Kick this. We could talk about this in the workshop. I could get more information from the Washington Conservation District about installation costs, about the post costs,
Yes,
about storage, because you're not going to install 50 signs all at once. So
No.
I assume that they would store them.
Yeah.
And bring that information. Sure.
and if one project is
I
complete,
like
yeah,
that.
a long discussion,
Mm-hmm.
remove it and place it somewhere else,
Yep.
et cetera, et cetera.
President Marshall,
Yes, sir.
if I could, I know that they inspect these projects for at least 3 years after the fact and do a report. So perhaps the signs have to be there through that inspection period. And then maybe after that, the conservation district takes those signs and uses them somewhere else.
Reuses them.
Just a
So
thought.
they put them in their garage.
Or people that they want to keep them.
Mhm.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, maybe at 3, the last inspection.
they can-
Pull the sign.
If the homeowner says, no, we like the sign, we want to keep it.
Mhm.
That's okay too.
Jeff, I invite you to attend our workshop. Can't hurt.
Okay,
I want your input.
okay.
But thank you, John. That's what we're gonna do. We put this off so that we can include this and an informed decision on how we're gonna go about this. I've done this sort of thing before and it can get spendy. And then somebody forgets the drill and what are we doing now? Never mind. You got it. Okay. So. Workshop on the water. Who was the only, Dawn did not attend. But, I understand, sure. I'll say this, I'll try not to be so verbose about this kind of stuff, but it was, in my opinion, the best workshop we've ever attended. I did not realize how shallow the water was. I talked to the riverboat captain. Angie Hong, and, she spearheaded this, and Barbara Heitkamp, put together a package that was very informative, scientific, and, in my opinion, played to the, not intelligence, but the scientific background of the people attending. You know, and I don't mean to criticize the past ones, but some of them were, you know, for children, in my opinion. And this one was extremely informative. I asked, many questions, and I think it went extremely well. And I let both those people know that that's what I felt about it. Managers, anything else?
I like the format. I thought that was a really good format to have, 15-minute presentation
Yeah.
and discussion.
The dating, whatever.
Worked out, yeah.
Dating.
I thought that worked out real
Yeah,
well.
I think 20 minutes probably would have been better. It was
Mhm.
seemed a
Yeah.
little abbreviated at 15.
Yeah. But it was very good. The technicality was important. And also talking to the federal people, the Department of the Interior, Fish and Game,
Park Service.
the Rangers, yeah.
Commissioner Barron sat down with us for a little bit,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, and I briefly spoke to Commissioner Cox, but she was upstairs, so we didn't see too much of her. I don't know if you gentlemen did.
Hmm.
I didn't see much of her.
Mhm.
I met some very nice people, and it was extremely informative. And the one particular aspect was about the mussels, the mollusks that we have in that river. And I asked questions about how they actually went about acquiring data on the number of these animals, that sort of thing. And it turns out it's a kind of an expensive thing to do because they use divers. They look for these things. I asked if they were edible. And they said, well, yeah, but don't touch them. And I said, okay. Anybody have anything else?
No, it was excellent.
Yeah.
You guys felt the same way, Mr. Bill?
Yeah,
Okay. Up on that, Washington County Fair, another one. Mr. Brock, you want to share your experience?
Sure, this is the first time I've, worked the booth there, and it was really good for me, because I had never met Jay Briggs before. And we each knew each other's names, and but we had never connected, and so that was really excellent just to get connected with Jay, but we also talked to a number of members of the public, and two people that I talked to were going to follow up. They were within our watershed, kind of pointed out where they were on the map that we were walking on there, and they were going to follow up with the district for some site visits for our plant grant program.
Nice.
So,
I had two shifts and it went extremely well, busier than I thought. Time flies. I didn't think that would happen. I got a $9 foot-long hot dog. Got scolded for that. Yeah. You'd think they put chili on it or something. But the information was wonderful. There's a lot of excellent material that the WCD puts out that we encourage people to take home with them so they get all of this. And I have a few questions about the Watershed District, and there was a few people that I knew who were visiting, and I spoke to them, and it was mostly, oh, hey, you do this? Wow, I thought you were totally boring, not convinced. You're worse, you know. Outside of that, I had fun with the mosquito control people. I really enjoyed talking to them as well and mentioning what we do with Watershed District, and they're clearly aware, but they also have a scientific background. It's excellent. Most of them are, in my opinion, pretty well educated about what they do. And then to entice some of the younger folks with their parents, they had the big pan. And I guess this doesn't fall under our particular, how shall I say, what we do, but it's still important. They had a big dish pan with water with quite a few mosquito larvae in it. Yeah, and so people would ask me, what are you doing? And I said, well, I came here for the mosquito larvae races, you know, and then I would point out to the people, I go, okay, that one's mine, and I bet it'll get across faster than yours. And of course, they were going, what are you looking at? But we got a lot of kids involved, and they were looking at these creatures underneath the stereo microscope, and it was just a really pleasant thing. Yeah, if mosquito larvae can be pleasant, yeah. And looking at the different species and all that kind of stuff, you're a bug geek. Well, it's a lot of fun, yeah. And so, you know, I would say, well, look at the birds, you know, the WCD had this set up with the different birds that are common to our area, and can you find them? And so it was rich in information. And it went well, and I sat with Angie Hahn, who was extremely pleasant, and she brought her son along, who's a real smart kid. I like, not a smarty pants, he's a good kid. And then Miss Barbara Heitkamp, and she's got a background in geology. And I had to ask her a million questions, and of course, she wasn't bored. She'd love to share that stuff. So learned as much as we could, but it was, I thought it was very good. And we had people interested in what we do more than just, you know, walking by so they can go to get a milkshake, you know. Yeah, and they ran out early, so they had to talk to us. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, John, for attending. Okay, attorneys.
I have two resolutions
Yes, ma'am.
for the managers to review and approve tonight for the purchase of two more properties as part of the landlocked property acquisitions project. There is motion language or proposed motion language on page 2 of the yellow handout that you received. If you're ready to make a motion, both of these resolutions respectively.
Okay. So very simple. So number one, number one, is that where we're at? No, you're okay. I want to make sure I got it right.
It's resolution 2025-05.
2025-05, this is pretty simple. I can just make a motion for this one, correct? Thank you. Okay. So I would like to go ahead and make a motion to approve resolution 2025-05, the resolution approving the purchase of property located at 2790 Legion Avenue North, Lake Elmo, Minnesota. Do I have a second?
There is a little bit more to the motion on the second page of that yellow sheet.
Okay. Oh, I see. Any minor corrections requested by the homeowner may be made without further authorization. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Second,
It's been moved and seconded.
Aye.
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 aye,
It is approved. You will require a signature from the president and secretary. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, that's one and.
Take them together or separate, the one as I pick them both.
Yes, ma'am. Cool. Very good.
If you wouldn't mind repeating that process for resolution 2025-06.
Okay. So. Thank you, Counselor. Here we go. I would like to move to adopt resolution 2025-06. Approving the purchase of the property located at 2832 Legion Avenue North, Lake Elmo, Minnesota. And any minor corrections requested by the homeowner may be made without further authorization.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Aye.
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 Okay, that is approved. Signature? Good, thank you. All right. No.
If there's no other questions for me on the topic of those two resolutions, it is time to close the meeting, but you can first read that blurb, the paragraph that's provided in your packet.
Yes, ma'am. We shall. Okay. Hopefully it stopped raining.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Counselor, here I go. Okay, the Valley Branch Watershed District will transition to a closed meeting pursuant to Minnesota statute section 13-44 subdivision 3 to review and discuss appraisals ordered by Valley Branch Watershed District for the purpose of acquiring land through purchase and pursuant to 13D.05 subdivision 3C to review appraisals and develop or consider offers for the purchase of real property. Okay, now I can close the meeting. And
You do have to identify the properties that will
Okay.
be discussed.
Ma'am, okay. The real properties that will be discussed during the closed meeting are 7081 Jocelyn Lane North, Grant, 2790 Legion Avenue North, Lake Elmo, 2832 Legion Avenue North, Lake Elmo, 2778 Legion Avenue North, Lake Elmo, 2814 Legion Avenue North, Lake Elmo, and 2257 Legion Avenue North, Lake Elmo.
You're all good.
Oh, thank you. Okay. So with that said, I would like to make a motion to to suspend our regular meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Aye.
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 Hi.
Okay, we're good.
Beautiful, okay. Now I would like to make a motion to open, or excuse me, resume our regular meeting. Do I have a
Second.
Second. So moved and seconded.
Aye.
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 Okay,
Yeah, and I was just on the first batch, I've been all year.
our meeting has resumed.
Yep.
Thank you for waiting, folks.
No, seriously. They're in solving the world's problem.
I bet. Yeah, there's too many.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can go right into the motions, attorneys? Thank you.
Yes.
So, first, I would like to make a motion. Move to make the following counter offers for the purchase of the respective real properties. Okay. For 2778 Legion Avenue North, the offer of $470,000. They paid 80% at closing on or after September 12th and 20% upon vacating the property on or before November 1st. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Aye.
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 Okay. For 2814 Legion Avenue North, the offer of $510,000 paid in one of two ways. 80% at closing to occur October 15th and 20% upon vacating the property on or before December 15th. Or number two, 25% as earnest money and 75% at closing to occur and property vacated on or before June 1st, 2026. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Aye.
okay. Those are our motions. Okay, folks? All right. Now, I will add, if you have any questions or any comments or anything, I will immediately defer you to our, yes, that's where we're at right now.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you, folks.
You wanna let them know about the appraisal?
Oh, yeah, did you want to hear one quick thing?
Yeah.
The appraisal. We went with the appraisal, was it number 2? On the,
No, main appraisal, the only
The main
appraisal that you
appraisal.
received for this property.
forgive me, that's what we went with.
The Valley Branch appraisal.
Yes.
Yes.
And we had that
Any particular
reevaluated.
reason that we were just ignored on any counter offer with our second, with the other?
So I will provide you with a written offer of the terms that you heard in the motion tonight, and I will also send you an email of a summary that our appraiser prepared after reviewing your materials and the appraiser and the appraisal that you obtained. So you'll receive that from us.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, folks. Thank you for your patience. I will return this to you for a minute. Whoa, okay. It's done that, convening. Okay, so now we're officially here. Cost share project tracking. That we have already established, everybody has seen that. What Alyssa does for us. And so the second one is the open meeting law update. Don, give us a quick explanation of why this was happening.
Yeah, Mr. President, Managers, just for information only, the state made some changes to open meeting law this session. And I thought the managers would want to be aware of what those changes are. And they're mostly to deal with posting for virtual meetings. Those change. And Alex Olson is well aware of all this and interpreting it if necessary.
Just one, confirmation, League of Minnesota City did this report and used cities throughout the term. We can replace municipality, which we are. Is that
As far as I understand, yes.
Yeah, well, the open meeting law is a little interesting, and with the changes that were made after COVID or during COVID, they have a different, it's almost like they have two different statutes for two different like classifications. And so what's here, the 13D.02, does cover the watershed districts as well. But I didn't spend a ton of time reviewing this. I've actually been on vacation until today. It's my first day back, pretty much since our last meeting. So I didn't take a big look at this, but I do believe that the one big nice change is that we no longer have to put your location. It does not have to become a public location.
No.
I think there was some pushback, and obviously with the most recent attacks on public figures,
Yeah.
there's some understanding that putting your location be desirable.
Simple enough. Susanna, if you can help me with this, I do want to add something to what we have here. And tell me if I'm wrong or correct me or help me. It is incumbent upon the managers, this includes me and anybody that attends this meeting for these purposes, that they provide adequate technology to be able to communicate with the board during the board meeting. And the board can only do so much with the technology available. Is that a reasonable statement or?
It's required by the statute, actually,
Okay.
that to participate interactively by Zoom or by phone, which you can participate by phone if you
Right.
wanted to. You need to be able to hear and be heard. Right, so that, I mean, that's a requirement to participate. So let's say you had a phone that was cutting out, that might lead you to decide that I'm really not fulfilling the requirements of the statute. I'm going to participate but not vote. Or it works now, but I missed a whole bunch of the conversation. So on this particular conversation, I'm not going to vote. Or, so I mean, it's kind of dealing with it, or it's crystal clear the whole time. You get to participate and you get to vote for the
Right.
meeting.
So, yeah, there's a blizzard and somehow you're able to get through, no problem.
Mhm.
I'm in North Dakota. And so with that said, we will do what we can to make this conducive to communicating with managers that are unavailable in person. So I would like to add one other thing about that, and that is, and this is based on my personal views, that trying to attend the meetings is important to making us more effective. People like to see this. I don't know how to further explain it. We're all gentlemen, we're all adults here. We all understand what our roles are. But it is my opinion that people like to see us. And so if we can do that, it would be better than other situation. With other, I'll finish short. I can understand with other legal bodies or organizations that are involved in not being present. I believe on the 25th, we have something coming up and we're all going to be on, this is with the Minnesota Watersheds to attend. I'll be attending that because it's via internet. That's understandable, but if you can be here, great. That's all I'm saying. There's no beef, nothing going on, just making sure we're all clear about that. Yes, sir.
My simple interpretation of this, I agree completely with you, Ed, that nothing replaces being physically present. I'm convinced from my own experience that human beings make decisions in a more robust manner when they're physically present. What this does, my interpretation of what this does is that if a manager absolutely can't be here for a very good reason, then they can attend virtually,
Yes,
because otherwise they would not be in attendance at all. So that's my personal, how I'm kind of looking at this, so.
Right.
You know, I get a pretty busy calendar, and whenever I schedule something, a trip or whatever, I always look at the second
Yeah.
and or Thursday and try to move it away from those dates, so.
Yeah.
I can physically be here.
there's one thing that occurred, and I'm basing this on that, even though I can bring up other things from the past with, in my role since I've been a manager, but, and I can say this is not bad mouthing anybody or anything, but we had in the past a manager who, I believe was wearing his,
CPAP?
the CPAP, yes, sir. He's wearing a CPAP and he fell asleep during the meeting and he was essentially snoring. And to me, that is just completely out of line.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, it happened, and we're all giggling about it, but it takes away, and I like us to have our, the jocular nature to the seriousness of what we do and, levity here and levity there, as long as it's not excessive. Certainly on my part, I have to watch that. But that should not occur,
Yeah.
and that applies to me and everyone else. So that's kind of the point I'm making about this sort of thing. If you can't communicate, if you're on top of, K2 or something, and your Sherpa can't get your equipment going, not picking on you, Rick, I'm just saying that, then you're not getting the most of the meeting and you're not being the participant that we prefer you to be. And again, this applies to all of us. And that's all I'm saying on the matter. But it goes for all of us. And we're all adults here, so it's not an admonition or anything like that. Everything's okay. I belong to a fraternity and just to add something, and I was absolutely incensed that at the end of that meeting, one of the fellows decided to bring out scotch, a variety of scotch whiskeys for us to try. And then at the next meeting, I was scolded for drinking, and I thought, wait a minute. You guys figured this out because I have to drive a long way, so I am certainly not in tune with running afoul of the law and harming somebody. So I don't want to be told that. Anyway, that's all there is to that. If that makes any sense. I don't know. Yes, sir.
Mr. President, I guess I'd ask the attorneys to look at the updated statute and advise the board on whether the agenda packet now needs to be posted to the Watershed District's website. Previous managers have discussed that and have decided not to post the manager's packet to the website. But on number 6, it's like page 5.
You guys all have your love thing,
Might be this.
Somebody may have been calling me. I don't know.
one way to maybe handle that appropriately would be to make it available before the meeting and for a short while afterwards, but have a short fuse on it in terms of how long it stays up and available. If people want it after that, then they can, do a freedom of information request and get it that way.
It's very appealing. Kind of like our signage.
Yeah,
I agree with Rick, try to be as open as possible and at the time of the meeting, then that goes away. I mean, the packet information.
Yeah,
Goes away
sometime shortly
after
after.
the time of our meeting.
mhm.
Counselors? Simple enough.
It's completely up to the managers, what or how long you want it on. Website.
I don't think cost is an issue. Cloud storage is just beyond cheap. I
Okay.
wanted to keep an archive or,
The minor issue.
I mean, what I do at home is I keep my last 12 meetings on the shelf, the packets. Right, so I've never had to go back to them, but I had to, they were there, for the past year. That's semi-arbitrary.
Something interesting. When President Buchek left office, he said that he kept one of these for every single meeting. And I thought that was interesting for his personal knowledge base, whatever you want to call it. So that seems simple enough.
The only other tricky thing would be if the packet's posted to the website after spring of 2027, it would need to be ADA compliant. Everything in that packet would need to be ADA compliant. And so that would mean, for example, the drafts of the signs that Washington Conservation District submitted.
They'd
would
have
take
to be
some additional work
described.
Because you'd have to describe all the photos on those and all.
Hmm.
So, but that can be talked about later.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And that's it.
And as long as we're talking about it, there's 3-ring binders on your table that if it is helpful for you to use and sticking your packet in, packets are three-hole punched, you can use those 3-ring binders. If you don't think they're useful, can you move back to, they're recycled ones from bars if they're not.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll address this one later. Correct? Okay, very good. So. But that's. Basin water levels, that information has been included. Managers. John, quick comment on that, please.
So Washington Conservation District is your contractor that records those water levels and they send routine reports. There's not a set time when they submit them, but they sent it last Friday when the packet was going out and I thought the managers might find it interesting. So it's included in your packet just as an informational link.
And that's why Silver Lake is not in there.
Yes, because
Okay, that's
Ramsey
Ramsey
Public
County.
Works does that.
Mhm.
Okay. Excellent, thank you, sir. And is this information that's gonna be posted to our websites for,
Mr. President, we take that information and create charts, so it's a little bit easier to read.
Perfect.
For each lake, and that's included in the annual report.
thank you, sir. Okay. That's excellent. Future business and meetings. Budget workshop. August 20th. All of you gentlemen be able to attend,
Yes.
Yes.
okay? John, please give us an email reminder. Please.
Yeah, there's also a packet that I asked that you complete tonight before we leave.
Oh, there is?
Yeah.
Your food selection.
Oh,
Important stuff. We might need to go into a closed session for this.
yeah.
Just wanted.
You're hungry. Yeah, sorry. Okay, yeah. We can address that right now? Oh no, we can contact you. Oh, very good. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Feel like meeting? Okay, whatever. Minnesota Watershed's annual meeting on resolution of petitions, Zoom, August 25th. Don, of course, you were.
John and John.
I was gonna attend.
Oh, you?
Yes, thanks, John. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So
And was that added on the?
it is the secondary.
I'm alternate.
Alternates, yes.
Okay.
last time.
As long as
And
the
it should, and there's only 3 resolutions, so it shouldn't be too onerous.
Okay,
We should have received an appointment with Zoom information from Jan this afternoon, or yesterday afternoon. Look at this.
yeah, I haven't seen that, but I will look.
I'll
Yes.
forward it to you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Jan's got major anxiety of doing a virtual meeting, so we've had 2 dress rehearsals already.
Really?
Or Jan.
Okay. The Watershed District meeting, Baytown, August 28th, September 11th, and all the managers be able to attend that.
I won't be out to here on the 28th.
That's right. Have a celebration for you, sir.
Okay.
Make any further comments about that. But they would be good. Okay. And the Watershed Budget Workshop with the Washington County Board on November 4th. So, John, you'll remind us, to get to talk to those people. Okay? And one more item. Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Been moved and seconded.
Aye.
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 We are.